Nnedi, the housemaid, the girl who brought the household of Adanma to its knees. A past that will shatter their world. Unseen forces that threaten their very existence. This family's dark secret will leave you speechless. Uncover the truth that changes everything. Grab your popcorn as we dive into this gripping and captivating tale. In the heart of a busy village named Ojoko, surrounded by green fields and bustling markets, lived a hearty and lively woman named Adanma. Blessed with a household full of joy, she shared a simple brick home with her gentle and dependable husband Orji. Echoes of joy, laughter and the cries of her triplets filled their house, and Adanma's days overflowed with chores from sunup to sundown, caring for her home, Orji, and their children, Obina, their thoughtful teenage son, and the triplets Ada, Chinyere, and Ngozi, who were identical yet unique, each with a spark of mischief and innocence. The triplets' boundless energy was both Adanma's joy and her greatest challenge. The need for an extra pair of hands became undeniable. So, when her old friend Ugochi came to her one day looking solemn, Adanma listened with a heavy but hopeful heart. Ugochi spoke of a girl named Nnedi who lived in her village, a girl whose spark had been dimmed by hardship, dealt a tough hand in life. With her father gone and her mother struggling, Nnedi had to bear too much for her young age. Ugochi's plea was heartfelt. Adanma, Nnedi is in desperate need of your kindness. She's been through so much, carrying burdens no child should. In your care, she'll find not just a roof over her head, but a loving home to heal her spirit. Adanma's heart opened as vast as the Niger River itself, and she nodded in agreement. Nnedi will join our family, not to serve us, but to be embraced as our own daughter, she vowed, and we will ensure she receives an education, which will be the bridge to her brightest future, reaching for the stars. Adanma, thrilled and relieved, welcomed Nnedi with open arms, promising Ugochi that she would support Nnedi's education as beacon of hope for a brighter future. Nnedi arrived with just a bag and a timid smile. As soon as she entered their home, things felt different. She quickly bonded with the triplets, her laughter blending harmoniously with theirs. Orji thought of her like the daughter he'd always wanted, and Obina like the sister he'd wished for. Nnedi settled in fast. It was as though peace had settled into the very corners of their home. Her calm demeanor brought a calm to their busy home. Soon, her laughter became a comforting sound that filled the rooms and made everyone feel more at ease. Her presence was like a soothing balm. Even the walls seemed to exhale in relief. Nnedi's dedication to her tasks was unmatched, her care for the kids perfect. Each evening, after chores and storytelling, she would sit under the baobab tree, absorbed in her books by lantern light. Her commitment and kindness quickly earned her a cherished spot in the family. Adanma watched as Nnedi helped Obina with schoolwork, while the triplets clung to her skirts, begging for yet another story. She became central to their happiness. Orji would return from work to find Nnedi at the heart of their joyous home. Orji often returned from the farm to find Nnedi surrounded by their children, her laughter mingling with theirs. Truly a heartwarming sight to behold. Obina, often quiet and thoughtful, watched Nnedi closely. At first he was shy, but soon he started to look out for her like a big brother. This was a new start for him. The triplets, each a mirror image but with a distinct spark, responded to Nnedi's arrival with the pure, uninhibited curiosity of youth. The presence of someone new to share their mother's love became a lesson in kindness and companionship that would shape their young hearts. Over time, whispers spread through the village about the girl who had changed Oji and Adanma's household. The villagers praised her for working hard, being humble, and fitting in like a true member of the family. At first, Adanma was filled with pride whenever she heard people complimenting Nnedi. But as the days went by and the praises kept coming, a small worry began to grow inside her. Each new compliment made her feel a little more uneasy, wondering what all this attention might mean for Nnedi's future. But as the season went by, so too did the winds within Adanma's heart. She began to notice the looks of admiration Nnedi drew from the villagers, the praise lavished upon her by friends and strangers alike. The warmth that once filled Adanma when she looked at Nnedi now twisted into a knot of resentment. Her husband's innocent fatherly affection for Nnedi, Obinna's sisterly bond, the triplets' adoration, all stung Adanma with a pang of jealousy. As days passed, Adanma began to watch Nnedi more closely. She started scrutinizing Nnedi's every move, feeling irritation where she once felt admiration. On a hot afternoon while she was making pounded yam in the kitchen, her thoughts were as troubled as the yam she stirred. She couldn't shake her growing concerns as she worked the thick dough. Why does everyone keep praising her non-stop? Is she really that perfect? Adanma mumbled to herself, her spoon hitting the pot louder with each stir. Oji, hearing this from the doorway, walked in with a worried look. Adanma, what's troubling you? Nnedi has been nothing but a blessing to us, he said, trying to understand her sudden discontent. Adanma put the pot down forcefully and turned to face him. Yes, a blessing, so much that I worry if she's shining so brightly that my own role in this family seems less important, she exclaimed, her voice tinged with frustration. Oji took her by the shoulders, his eyes searching hers. Adanma, you are the heart of this home. Nothing can change that. Nnedi's help does not overshadow the love and respect we have for you. Adanma's voice cracked with a mix of anger and insecurity. As tension brewed between them, Nnedi walked in, her cheeks pink from playing with the triplets outside. She stopped, feeling the tense air.
Is everything all right?
She asked softly, clearly worried. Adanma turned away, caught in a storm of feelings, resentment, guilt, and an unwilling fondness for the girl who had only been kind. Oji sighed, the weight of his wife's turmoil pressing upon him. Everything is fine, Nnedi. Thank you, he said, though his voice carried a heaviness that belied his words. Nnedi nodded, but her eyes stayed on Adanma a moment longer, filled with worry and confusion, before she quietly left the room. That night, while the village rested under a sky full of stars, Adanma lay awake, her room shadowed by her doubts and growing resentment. The love she felt for her family clashed with the storm brewing inside her, a storm that threatened to disturb the peace they all cherished. As sadness hardened Adanma's heart, her behavior towards Nnedi changed for the worse. The home, once alive with warmth and laughter, began to echo with Adanma's stern voice and Nnedi's quiet tears as she found refuge in the dim corners of the house. Adanma's change was gradual, a growing bitterness that shaded how she treated Nnedi. It started with small things. Nnedi was left with only leftover scraps from meals, the cold remnants of what the family had once enjoyed together. Her bed, which had been warm and welcoming, was moved to a chilly corner of the house, with only thin, worn blankets to keep her warm. One day, as Nnedi carefully washed the dishes, a plate slipped from her soapy hands and broke on the tiled floor, its crash ringing through the house. Adanma, watching from a distance, seized the moment. Her voice, usually soft and kind, became harsh as she scolded Nnedi severely. Before Nnedi could even apologize, Adanma slapped her cheek 3 times forcefully. The 4th slap knocked Nnedi to the floor, her head spinning, feeling a deep sense of betrayal that hurt more than the pain on her face. "Tell anyone of this, and it will be worse," Adanma hissed, her eyes filled with a fierce intensity Nnedi had never seen before. The threat lingered like a dark cloud over Nnedi. Unseen by Oji, who was busily working in the farm, Adanma had carefully timed his absence. She knew exactly when he would return, giving her enough time to hide any evidence of her harsh treatment of Nnedi. During these carefully calculated periods, Adanma's harsh actions remained unchecked, casting a shadow over the household until Oji came back, unaware of what had happened. From that point on, every small mistake Nnedi made was met with harshness. Any bruises or marks were covered under layers of clothes, hiding the physical and emotional pain that Nnedi endured. Nnedi, scared of what might happen if she spoke up, stayed quiet. Her eyes, which once sparkled, now showed signs of resignation and a deep, hidden sadness. Her schoolwork, which used to make her proud, began to falter, her grades dropping like leaves in autumn. Oji, unaware of the turmoil inside his home, only noticed the outward changes. "Nnedi seems quieter these days," he observed one evening, worry creasing his forehead.
"She's just tired from her schoolwork,"
Adanma responded smoothly, hiding her inner turmoil with a casual tone. But Obina, more observant, noticed the subtle changes. He saw the way his mother's gaze hardened when it fell on Nnedi, and how Nnedi slightly flinched whenever Adanma's voice rose. One evening, finding Nnedi alone under the baobab tree, her body trembling with silent sobs, Obina walked over to her.
"Nnedi, what's wrong? Why won't you tell me?"
he asked gently, his voice filled with concern. Nnedi looked up, tears reflecting the faint light. "I can't," she murmured, her voice quivering with fear.
Your mother, she warned me not to speak of it.
Moved by Obina's sincere concern, Nnedi finally opened up after his gentle urging. With a shaky breath, she shared what had happened. Obina's heart tightened with a mix of anger and helplessness.
"This isn't right. You're part of our family,"
he said firmly.
"We should tell my father. He needs to know."
Despite Obina's insistence, Nnedi, frightened of what might happen, persuaded him to keep the secret, fearing Adanma's unpredictable anger. Suddenly, tragedy struck. Orji, a robust figure in the village, collapsed on the farm, clutching his chest with screams of pain. Despite the quick response from the villagers who rushed to his aid, their efforts were in vain. As they lifted him, hoping to provide relief, his struggle ceased. In the quiet fields he had tended so lovingly, Orji passed away, his spirit leaving in the presence of the villagers who surrounded him. The loss echoed deeply through the community, marking a poignant moment of collective mourning for a man who had been a pillar of strength and kindness. Orji's death plunged the household into deep mourning. The vibrant spirit that once filled their home was now replaced by a suffocating silence. Orji had been the calm anchor in their stormy lives, and his absence left a profound void. Nnedi felt the loss deeply, having seen Orji as a father figure who balanced Adanma's increasing bitterness with his calm wisdom. With him gone, Adanma's occasional irritations turned into constant scrutiny and sharp comments directed at Nnedi. Despite the growing tension, Nnedi held on to her determination. Each night, in the dim solitude of her room, she whispered to herself, "I am better off here. I cannot return to a life of hunger and lost dreams." Yet with each day, her fear grew. Fear that without Orji's protective presence, Adanma's patience might soon run out. The triplets and Obina also sensed the change in their mother. They noticed the prolonged silences, the missing laughter, and how their mother's piercing gaze followed Nnedi, sharp as a knife slicing through market noise. One stormy evening, as thunder echoed the chaos inside, Nnedi sat with the children, weaving tales to rise above the storm's roar. Adanma entered the room, her expression tense, words hanging unsaid in the charged air. Adanma's voice sliced through the steady rhythm of the rain. "Why do you spoil them with so many stories?" she snapped. "You should focus on your chores instead of filling their heads with nonsense." Nnedi looked up, her expression controlled.
I thought a little happiness might brighten the house, especially now.
She responded softly. Adanma's eyes flashed with anger. "Happiness? What do you know of our joy or our grief? You're just playing the martyr, acting like a saint." Obinna stood up, compelled to intervene.
Mama, please.
He urged, his voice firm even as his hands trembled.
Nnedi hasn't done anything wrong. She's been nothing but good to us.
Adanma turned her piercing gaze on her son, and for a tense moment, the room fell silent. Finally, she stormed out, the heavy atmosphere leaving with her. That night, Nnedi lay awake, Adanma's harsh words echoing in her mind. She wrestled with her choices, remain in a home where she felt increasingly unwelcome, or return to a village that offered nothing but hardship. The decision tormented her, each option fraught with challenges. As dawn cast a soft light through her window, Nnedi decided she would stay. She chose to remain for the children who looked to her for warmth and for her own future. Despite the challenges, she held on to hope for a change, for Adanma's heart to soften, or for a new path to open. Nnedi focused on her studies and the children, creating a small haven of routine and affection. She waited for the storm raging within Adanma to subside, hoping for peace to return to the home Orji had left, a peace that now seemed as far away as the horizon, yet as vital as the air they breathed. Brace yourself for what comes next. The story is about to take a darker turn.
Eager for more tales, be they magical or grounded in reality? Stay tuned by subscribing and hitting the bell icon so you won't miss our next story. Show some love with a like, share this journey with others, and share your thoughts in the comments. The next chapter awaits, full of surprises and insights. Until then, thank you for being part of our storytelling adventure.